Dr. Shabir, welcome to Let the Quran Speak.
Pleasure to be on.
We're looking at a verse from the Quran, chapter 39, verse 53, an inspiring verse. And this is how it goes, Dr. Shabir. Say, O my servants who have transgressed against themselves, do not despair of God's mercy, for God forgives all sins. He is the ever-forgiving, the mercy giver. Beautiful verse again.
Yeah, it is. It is. And it's a very inspiring verse. You know, this verse gives us the full assurance that God is going to forgive us because He forgives all sins. He is Al-Ghafur Rahim. He's Al-Ghafur Al-Rahim. He's Ghafur Rahim. He is forgiving and He is merciful. So to go over the whole verse, it starts with the imperative say. It's directing our Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, to declare to the world, قُلْ يَا عِبَادِيَ الَّذِينَ أَسْرَفُوا عَلَىٰ أَنفُسِهِمْ. O my servants who have wronged their souls. So the concept in the Quran of sin is that we are wronging our own souls. See, when we commit sins, we don't harm God, but we harm ourselves. So when God prohibits something, it's not to deprive us of the pleasures of this world out of some spitefulness on His part or for any reason. It's not for the purpose of depriving us of pleasures, but it is for our own benefit in the long run. And we don't see the harm that some things can do to us. Okay, we can study scientifically what harms some foods may have for our physical bodies. But what harms do sins cause to our spiritual bodies that we cannot test in a laboratory? God informs us of that. God says, okay, don't do this, either because it might result in some physical harm to you, or it might result in some spiritual harm to you. So when we commit sins, then, from the Quranic perspective, we are wronging our souls. We're wronging ourselves. So the statement here is, God is reaching out to people and saying, O my servants who have wronged their souls, O you servants of mine who have wronged your souls, La taqnatu min rahmatillah. Do not despair of the mercy of Allah. Inna Allah yaghfiru dhunuba jami'a. God certainly forgives all sins. Innahu huwal ghafur rahim. He certainly is forgiving, merciful.
So no matter what sin we do, God is there to forgive us.
Yeah, because it says all, and you know, it could have, it did not have to include the word all. Just like we can say in English, you know, He forgives sins. So when we say He forgives sins, that means, like, you know, without limitation, right? Because no restriction. He forgives sins. But it says He forgives all sins. So too in the Arabic, Inna Allah yaghfiru dhunub. He certainly God forgives sins. That would mean all sins. But it adds the word jami'a, which means all together. And so there is an emphasis here on the absolute forgiveness of God. We should capitalize on that promise.
Yes, and Dr. Shabir, even in the beginning of the verse, I like how it says, "Oh my servants," like "Ya ibadi," right? Yes. It's like it's a very warm sort of address to people, right? It's not just like, "Oh people, you know, God is forgiving." It's like, I can see that you're getting emotional about that.
Yeah, it is, because you know it is a moving verse in this way, because when you think about what the verse is saying and who is being addressed. Basically,
it's talking about people who are sinning.
Exactly.
Right?
That's the point.
Yeah.
And even though the people are already steeped in sins as they are, God is addressing them in this loving and compassionate way. So it's very moving, and it's a very inspiring verse.
We'll leave it at that. Thank you, Dr. Shabir.
You're welcome.
Tired of seeing how Muslims are depicted in media? You can help. Support Muslim Media Hub, the first of its kind to empower young Muslims to create content for film, TV, and social media. Visit our website, QuranSpeaks.com, and donate.